Well, welcome to Nature Coast Outdoors. I'm Garrett. Today I'm going to go over my kayak and why I put a electric bilge pump into it. I'm going to try to do this quick because it is hot as F here again today in Florida, high 90s again, and big storm brewing up right now. So I'm going to try to go over this quickly. First, let's just get into why I decided to put a electric bilge pump in. A lot of guys do carry just the hand pumps with the hose and all that. I never did carry one of those. Just because, for one thing, to get into any of the areas to pump water out from inside the hull, I have to lift the hatch or get into the back and do that. So recently I did put one in. I wired one up but never connected the discharge hose to the kayak itself. I just left it up front, and then if I got water in there, I would pull over somewhere on an island or something and get the water out. Now, I've been flooded by offshore charter boats, commercial crab boats and everything, and that was usually whenever I was trying to launch and have the kayak on the shore. Get those giant wakes coming up and come on inside. They'll go up over, especially if I had anything open at the time. But even on these hatches, I'll show you inside of here, even in the hatches, still get a lot of water in here, even just from waves. They used to have the seal up on the door here, but whenever they put it on, it was hanging off the corners, so water was really good in there. So I just went ahead and put the new seal up along here. I still get water that whenever I get in big waves or have a huge wake come over the bow, but nothing like what I used to. So this is just a, what is a 1100 gallon per hour pump. I used Flex Seal epoxy to hold it to the kayak. Before, I just had it sit in here, like I said, in the hose. I'll just kick it on, drain it here in just a few seconds. No problems at all. So it was a big decision on where to put it. This isn't exactly the low point, but it is where a lot of the water gathers. Obviously the low point would be right down in the middle, the lowest point here, but trying to get in through these access panels here and actually get it to stick and then work with running hose and everything, it wasn't feasible. So like I said, I went ahead, secured it in there with some Flex Seal epoxy, and then ran the hose through and went ahead and drilled a hole on this side. It was easiest to do because I could remove the rod holder and then take that panel off, reach through, and I could see what I was doing, actually get the hose on there. And I did put a whole bunch of silicone under there. That thing won't move at all. And it is above the water line. Now, I had thought about putting it all the way in the back where they already have the drain hole there, which these drain holes are dang near pointless because you have to stand the thing all the way up on top to get the water out. I don't even understand the point of them exactly. But I was going to put it, just since there's already a hole there, just widen it, put it in there. But I do know that a lot of times that'll be underwater, and I don't need water coming in constantly. And that is a big decision to make on deciding to put a, whatever it is, an inch and an eighth size hole in the hull of your kayak. So I don't know if that's going to avoid warranties or anything like that, but I'm not too worried about it. I just know now that all I have to do is hit a button and I can drain the water out of it in mere seconds. So I'll even demonstrate that here in a minute, but first, so I got it wired. I did drill some holes through this thing before, running cables through. So the only thing that's under there really is the connections where I wired the pump to the battery wires. It's got an extra fuse in there. Most of that stays up out of the water. I might have to rig it up so that those connections stay out, but I do have them seriously coated with some dielectric grease. But so I wired that right up to my Kayak power switch. All I have to do is turn it on here or up on here, which it's hard to tell in the daylight. There it goes. So that's wired on number 2. Keep that from falling here. If I hit number 2, kicks it right on. So I'll go ahead and get the hose and put some water in here and demonstrate how well this thing works. Now most of the time I'll end up with maybe a gallon or 2 in here over longer trips, but I have had times where I got absolutely flooded and had anywhere from 5 to almost 10 gallons of water inside here, and that adds an extreme amount of weight. I mean, let's see, you figure, what was it? Oh, that was a good one. I better hurry up. So, well, water weighs 8 point some pounds per gallon. And then once it starts being on one side and I start listing the port side or starboard side and really hanging, that's where I've almost flipped from having a wave hit me sideways while I was listing like that. So I get some water in here. Alright, that should be good. Put this camera down. Hit the 2. And just like that, all that water's mostly gone now. Now it's not going to get all of that out right away because anytime it flows, it's going to backflow in here too, but I'd much rather have to deal with that small amount of water than having gallons in there. I will say that it's probably best to have a backup pump, a manual pump also. Especially if you're going a few miles offshore with your kayak. Depending on your kayaks, I know that I think the Hobies have a access up towards the middle, which mine doesn't. So I'd have to open up the hatch and deal with that. But most of the time, I'm inshore and get to some type of land fairly quick to take care of the problem. Alright, I just felt a couple of raindrops, so I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Hope you enjoyed it and learned something. If you did, you know what to do. So, till next time, tight lines, folks.